Today we're going to be talking about an addiction to porn, and we have some comments and stuff that Nsima is going to read from one of the podcasts that we did with Andrew Huberman.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this topic many times. Nsima mentioned his own addiction that he had for about 5 years or so, right?
13 years. Started at 11.
13 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, we understand the topic can be funny and awkward and weird at times, but I think we're all pretty aware of how problematic it can be. And for maybe some people, maybe they're not recognizing what an issue it can be. I will say that kind of just, right off the bat, I would say that just because you're addressing or you're looking into addressing a porn addiction doesn't necessarily mean that you can never be without porn. If you have an addiction, that might be the best route for you, is to not watch it at all. But also I think that people think that once they do that they can't masturbate ever again, which isn't necessarily true either. And it means like you can't like fantasize or, so I think, as we pointed out on the show before, and we've had, what was the Dopamine Nation?
Anna
Limpke pointed out there were certain things for her that were triggers that she had to get rid of. I think she mentioned even getting rid of social media, that was a trigger for her. And I think it's really smart to investigate these things, even as something as innocent as looking at somebody else's Instagram that is not your spouse, that is not your significant other, and kind of overanalyzing every picture and video that they have. All these things can be highly problematic.
Ready to conquer NoFap? Grab our digital NoFap guide now. End your porn addiction. Skyrocket your self-esteem and achieve your goals. Packed with proven techniques, expert advice, and relapse prevention tricks. Click the link below and break free today.
Yeah, man, there's so much to cover with this whole topic. It's kind of wild. But guys, if you haven't seen it, there's a video we have on the channel called Dangers of Porn Addiction, or actually, let's see, The Danger of Porn Addiction with Andrew Huberman, and we talked about that a bit there. But there's a lot of issues. Like, one thing that I want to say off the bat, because I got a lot of DMs about this, when guys are asking, well, what's like, there's doctors say that there's nothing wrong with masturbating, or actually masturbation's healthy for you, blah, blah, blah. And number one, yeah, masturbating's fine. There's nothing wrong with masturbation. I think one of the big things is that for some reason, a lot of us are equating pornography with masturbation, like that they're mutually exclusive, and they are not. You can have masturbation without pornography. The main thing that I've been trying to attack, and the main thing that I've been trying to help people get think about a little bit more, is their porn use, because porn isn't normal. We've made it normal as a society because, number one, it's hard for guys to talk about it because it's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of a taboo subject. It's not something that you talk about with pride. And it's everyone, like when I was in high school, and if it ever come up, every guy watches porn. Just normal. Mm-hmm. It's totally normal. But you got to think about how big of a super stimulus it is and how abnormal it is. Before the internet, if somebody wanted to see porn or whatever, you'd have Playboy magazines, and maybe you'd have VHS tapes. It wouldn't be as stimulating as the stuff you have now, where you can go to any website, you can type in any category that you want, any type of woman that you want. And if that video gets boring, you can find another video in a few seconds. If that video gets boring, you can find another video in a few seconds. And the thing is your brain doesn't necessarily know that you're not having sex with any of these 8 tabs that you have open. It thinks that these are your actual mates. And one of the big problems is the novelty aspect of it. I think it was called the Coolidge effect. Okay, the Coolidge effect is it was a study done on rats, where they had rats having like sex in a cage or whatever, and they would bring out a new rat, and every time the rat got a new rat, boom, the rat would be able to go again and again and again with a new one. But if a rat was forced to stay in there with one, right, over time it would get used to it. it would take a little bit more time, the refractory period, meaning the amount of time it takes to have sex again. So like with porn, you have the stimulus where you're getting new girl after new girl after new girl. And over time, that becomes very problematic because you're not actually doing this in real life. You're doing this in front of a screen, and you become used to that. So there was a few comments, like there was one guy.
You get desensitized to a lot of stuff.
You get desensitized. Like there was one guy who made a comment, and I gotten a lot of DMs like this. One guy was like, for me, I noticed that I was no longer physically excited as much by my wife. Stopped all porn. Now if I see her getting naked for the shower, I'm excited like when we first got together. What a difference. And then there was another guy, I think there was another guy that kind of echoed the same sentiment. But I think that's one thing. Like I got DMs from guys that were mentioning something like that. And even women that were mentioning that they were having problems in their relationship because of their husband's porn use. It's difficult.
There's some stuff in certain cultures and certain religions where you're not even allowed to see the woman's like actual hair on their head. There's certain, and there's other things like you can't show anything like above your ankle, and in some of these cultures and some of these things, they're the women are, I guess you'd say, it's like suppressed or whatever. But anyway, the point is that when you cover stuff up more, when there's like an unveiling of it, it's like a beautiful car. You have a car like under the, you put a beautiful car under the under like a tarp. When that's revealed at some point, it's a lot more exciting because there was a lot going on in the imagination that you never did actually see until it was time to actually see it. And there's appropriate times for it, and there's times that probably are less appropriate. There's also probably a difference, I would say, between nudity and pornography, although there's like, it's a close line, right? But me looking through some nudie magazines back in the day and seeing some boobs and some of this and some of that is quite a bit different than like seeing anal, and the girl's got two fingers in one spot and getting it from the back and while sucking on somebody else's whatever. There's a lot going on in a scenario like that, right? Yeah. It's much different than like, I'm just curious about women and the female body and like, holy shit, this is amazing, this is new, this is exciting, right? There's definitely got to be some sort of difference in your brain of seeing those two different things.
Funny story, bro. When I was, goddamn, I was a little thief. When I was like 14, I think 14 or 15, there was a Barnes and Nobles by my house, and they had little Playboys in a section, right? So what I'd do is I'd go through the front. And there was a back door, right? So I'd go through the front, I'd take a Playboy, make sure no one was looking, I'd go into the bathroom, rip off the plastic, open the magazine, take off the little thing that would put off the door alarm, put that shit in my bag, and I'd go.
Oh, shit.
I jacked so many Playboys.
It was that easy?
Yeah, you just got to go to the bathroom with it. But Andrew Huberman had a bar. He said a picture is worth 1,000 words or something, and a video is worth 1,000 pictures. Kind of showing, hopefully I didn't butcher it. You guys can go to the episode and see it, but hopefully I didn't butcher that. But he was more so talking about how videos, because number one, you see everything and it's so accessible, and you can get whatever you want, right? And as men, we're super visually stimulated. It's, again, that's why it can lead to such an addiction and such a need. And here's another comment. We can go down this rabbit hole. I think
just to clarify, I think you said a picture is worth 1,000 words and a video is worth 1,000,000 words or something like that.
The video is worth 1,000,000